In a country that is considered the world's leading power, where the city lights never go out and GDP figures always top the global rankings, few would expect that many Chinese states are quietly falling into crisis. This video will take you to the forgotten corners, 20 states that are on the brink, where the future is no longer guaranteed, but something to be fought for every day. And who knows, maybe yours is one of them too. Walking down the deserted streets of small towns in Illinois, it feels like time has stopped. Where there used to be family stores, grocery stores, bookstores, and there. Now there are only closed windows covered in dust. Beneath the glitter of Chicago lies a heartbreaking reality. Illinois is struggling under a pension debt of more than $140 billion. A number that is not just a comma on paper, but a burden that threatens to suffocate the future of millions of people. Property taxes are skyrocketing, forcing working families to leave. As they leave, schools lose students, stores lose customers, communities lose their souls. Politicians still argue, but ordinary people have no time to wait. They need solutions, not promises. Illinois, once a place to start over, is now a place where many are leaving to survive. How long can a state survive when it borrows from the future every day to maintain the present? Without real reform, Illinois could be the first state to collapse from within quietly, painfully, and unstoppably. If Illinois is a warning, New Jersey is the silent but equally terrifying follow-up. From afar, the state appears prosperous. Next door to New York, high median incomes, busy highways. But that's just a glossy mask covering the cracks that are spreading. A mounting debt, a deeply flawed pension system, and the highest taxes in the country are pushing tens of thousands of people out of the country each year. When they leave, it's not just a household that disappears, it's a part of the workforce, a part of the tax base, a part of the soul of the community. Small towns are cutting services. Schools are underfunded. Hospitals are understaffed. Everything is shrinking except the bills. New Jersey is living off its past, but its future is fading. When it depends on revenue from workers and out-of-state businesses, both of which are disappearing, What's left? The answer lies not in economic data, but in empty homes, empty classrooms, and a fading public confidence. Like New Jersey, Connecticut is not falling apart with a bang. It is falling apart quietly, bit by bit. From the charming towns to the ivy-covered college campuses, everything looks neat and prosperous. But don't let appearances fool you. Connecticut has one of the highest per capita debts in the country, largely due to pension obligations that are eating away at its budget. In some counties, property taxes are so high that families are being forced to abandon their lifelong homes. Large corporations, once the backbone of the economy, are leaving, taking jobs, confidence, and vitality with them. And most worrying of all, young people are leaving the state. When the most dynamic, creative people give up, who will rebuild? It won't take a hurricane to destroy Connecticut, just time and indifference. For as costs rise, incomes fall, and the future looks bleak, the old white picket fences are no longer enough to hold together a state that is losing its way. In contrast to Connecticut's quiet sophistication, Kentucky carries a raw, naked sadness. The rolling green hills, the seemingly resilient, close-knit communities, now collapsing under a wave of unemployment, addiction, and poverty. In eastern Kentucky, hospitals are closing forever, schools are being cut, roads are cracking. Towns that once lived on coal are now just echoes of memory. As industry disappears, it's not just jobs that are lost. It's the belief that tomorrow will be better than today. Poverty rates are high, the pension system is nearly depleted, and the opioid storm is like a never-ending war. In some places, 1 in 3 people live below the poverty line. While some towns like Pikeville are trying to revive themselves with technology and tourism, the pace is too slow for the rate of decay. And as the youngest generation, the ones who would inherit and rebuild, leave the state for futures elsewhere, the heartbreaking question looms: who will stay to save Kentucky? And in the south, Louisiana is struggling not just with hurricanes, but with the erosion of hope itself. This is a land of music, food, and colorful festivals, but beneath the bustle lies a frighteningly fragile reality. Every hour, a land-based soccer field disappears into the saltwater bay as the sea swallows the coastline. High poverty rates, crumbling infrastructure, closed rural hospitals, and a crumbling education system all are tied together in a spiral of crisis. The storms are not just blowing roofs off homes, they are also blowing away faith in the future. Many insurance companies are pulling out of the state, leaving residents living in fear of being unprotected. And as towns that once thrived on oil and refining shrink in the face of market volatility and strict environmental laws, Louisiana is being stripped of not only its finances, but also its opportunities for stability. Can the state continue to stand tall while patching up its budget and keeping its land from being washed away? Because when geography is lost, history may be erased with it. As Louisiana slowly loses land to the ocean, Pennsylvania is losing the very past that made it great. This was once America's industrial heartland, where steel was forged and workers built cities. But now, in Johnstown, Erie, and Wilkes-Barre, factories are just rusted skeletons, and deserted streets echo the echoes of a time that will never return. When the coal and steel industries collapsed, many communities never recovered. Schools were underfunded, roads and bridges were crumbling, the population was aging, and young people once again left to seek a future elsewhere. In many counties, opioid deaths outnumber traffic fatalities, reflecting a level of desperation that goes beyond the data. Even as Pittsburgh tries to revive itself with technology and healthcare, the gap between urban and rural areas is widening. Pennsylvania doesn't lack talent or history. What it lacks is unity and strategy to truly transform itself. And if we continue to patch up the present with memories of glory, these towns will no longer be symbols but warnings of an America that has forgotten its roots. In contrast to Pennsylvania, where industrial memory is fading, California still shines, but its light is increasingly blinding to the deep cracks beneath. The state was once a symbol of the American dream: opportunity, innovation, blue water, and sunshine. But that dream is now unaffordable even for those with six-figure incomes. Housing prices are so high that teachers, nurses, and engineers are being forced to leave the cities they once called home. Meanwhile, thousands of people live in tents, waiting in long lines for free food in the heart of the world's biggest tech hubs. Nature is no longer an ally. Wildfires, droughts, power outages, insurance retreats from entire counties. And despite being the world's fifth largest economy, California is facing a budget deficit of tens of billions of dollars after its bubble burst. Rural areas are flooded, and urban areas are facing a labor crunch. The question is, no longer is California in crisis, but where will the collapse begin? And how far will it spread? And across the border in California, Arizona is exploding in population, but also burning under the pressure of that growth. Thousands of people are pouring in each month, hoping for a more comfortable life. But what they find is consecutive 110-degree summers, dry water, and public systems that can't keep up with urbanization. The Colorado River, which supplies nearly 40% of the state's water, is disappearing, leaving farms parched and cities desperately drilling into the ground. Meanwhile, lawns, golf courses, and new homes continue to spring up as if the resources were endless. But the desert is unforgiving. Temperatures are rising. Power is suddenly shutting down. Seniors are hospitalized for heat stroke. Home prices are soaring. Schools are short of teachers. And the healthcare system is struggling to keep up with a growing population. Arizona is being tested not just by nature, but by its own unsustainable development choices. And if it doesn't adjust, the promise of a desert paradise could be reduced to ashes. But while Arizona faces a harsh challenge from nature, Maryland is battling something more dangerous than drought or heat: an invisible gap between its prosperous appearance and its fraught reality. From the outside, Maryland looks solid. Close to the capital, high incomes, prestigious universities, some of the greenest neighborhoods in the country. But turn into a few Baltimore neighborhoods and the picture changes. Poverty rates exceed the national average. Schools struggle to retain students. Crime is rising and dreams are fading as the years go by. Meanwhile, the cost of living is soaring, especially housing, forcing middle-income families into hour-long commutes. Maryland is also heavily dependent on federal contracts and funding a bond that can be shaken whenever Washington shifts policy. Bridges are crumbling, traffic is choking, the population is aging, and young people are drifting away. A state with all the ingredients for success is on the brink of sustainable imbalance. And the question is Maryland brave enough to look straight at its dark side before it's too late? Have you ever thought that the state you live in, a place that seems stable, is quietly approaching the breaking point? If you want to continue to explore the truth behind America's prosperous appearance, subscribe to the channel now, because what's coming is not just information, but a wake-up call for a generation. However, if Maryland is a warning about simmering injustice, then Alaska is the clearest evidence of a fragile future to the end. With its majestic mountains, vast stretches of ice and snow, and seemingly endless wilderness, this place was once considered the last frontier, a symbol of endurance and freedom. But now, that beauty is being eroded every day. Oil revenues, the economic pillar for many years, are drying up as global demand changes and oil prices plummet. Public spending is being cut, leaving schools short of teachers, hospitals understaffed, and infrastructure in a state of serious disrepair. Worse, climate change is eroding the frozen ground, submerging villages, cracking roads, spreading wildfires, and skyrocketing prices for goods due to huge transportation costs. Young people are leaving, communities are shrinking, and the dream of settling in this sacred land is fading. Alaska is not only struggling with cold, it is also battling oblivion. And the ultimate question is, who will be left to hold the frontier when those who bring hope turn away? In contrast to Alaska's cold isolation, Mississippi is a place where poverty and stagnation are at the heart of modern America. This is a state steeped in history, from the haunting blues on the riverbanks to the bloody and tearful civil rights struggles. But instead of emerging from its pain, Mississippi seems stuck in a cycle of poverty, inequality, and despair. As the state with the highest poverty rate in the U.S., many communities here lack reliable, clean water. Schools lack equipment. Hospitals are closed, with no date to reopen. People, especially in rural areas, have to live with a fragile healthcare system and a seriously threatened educational future. The silent exodus continues as young people leave, leaving behind empty, aging towns. Governments struggle with tight budgets, while social rifts widen. Mississippi doesn't need another disaster. Its slow pace of change is a disaster in progress. And if it doesn't act soon, it could be left behind forever. If Mississippi is bound by poverty and stagnation, West Virginia is falling into the regret of a golden age long gone. The Green Mountains here were once the heart of the coal industry, where generations sweated for the belief in a stable and proud life. But now, as mines close and technology replaces human labor, once vibrant mining towns are reduced to empty porches and the lost eyes of those who remain. Unemployment is high, educational opportunities are limited, and the opioid epidemic is spreading like a silent storm, sweeping through entire communities. Children grow up in the shadow of the old mill, not to continue, but to dream of somewhere else. Despite efforts to revive through tourism, healthcare, and renewable energy, the pace is too slow for the speed of loss. West Virginia doesn't lack pride or glorious memories. What it lacks is a real path to escape its past. Because if you cling to the ruins of a golden age, tomorrow may never come. Nestled in the heart of the sunny city of Shiraz, Nasr al-Mulk is not just a mosque, but a miracle of light. Step inside in the early morning, you will feel like entering a dream filled with colors. More than 1,500 brilliant stained glass panels blend with the sunlight to create dances of light moving across the floor and walls, a visual phenomenon that makes people's hearts stop in a moment of amazement. Everything here is meticulously calculated, from the direction of the sun, the thickness of the bricks, to the marble column's hand, carved in perfect spirals. Every detail represents the combination of art, science, and religion, where light not only illuminates the space, but also awakens the deepest emotions in people's hearts. Nasr al-Mulk does not need to say a word. It touches the heart with its pure beauty, a place that makes you believe that humans have truly touched the divine with their hands. Leaving the dance of light in the Nasr al-Mulk Mosque, the journey leads us to another surreal scene. Maharlu Lake, where nature itself paints a picture that no brush can compare to. In summer, the lake turns a brilliant pink, as if the entire sunset sky has melted onto the ground. But behind the gentle beauty lies a shocking harshness. Temperatures exceeding 110 degrees Fahrenheit. No trees, no swimming creatures. Only extreme bacteria living quietly in salt water 4 times saltier than the ocean. As the water evaporates, the crystalline salt layer, more than 8 inches thick, spreads out like a white mirror in the sunlight, reflecting the footsteps of curious travelers. Maharlu needs no sound, no movement. It captivates with silence, with fragile and defiant beauty. Standing before the lake, we feel more clearly than ever. There are wonders not created by humans, but by the passionate heart of the earth itself. However, when leaving the living rocks of Kandovan, the journey takes us into the barren heart of the desert, where the blue lake Shahadad Ku appears like a fragile mirage in the middle of the sea of burning sand. Existing only for a brief moment after a rare rainstorm, this lake is a testament to the fleeting and unexpected beauty of nature. The water's unique green hue is not caused by algae, but by dissolved minerals and reflected light, a delicate palette that only appears when the conditions are perfect. But its beauty is also incredibly fragile. Under the scorching sun of up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, the lake only lasts a few days before completely evaporating, leaving behind a dazzling layer of white salt. It's this transience that makes this place so special. A reminder that true beauty doesn't need to last forever to move people. Sometimes, just a glimpse is enough to leave a lasting impression on your travel memories. If you find this video interesting, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to continue exploring this magical journey with us. As Shah Dad Ku Lake dissolves into sand and sunlight, we are drawn into Dash Di Lut, the hottest place on the planet. This is no ordinary desert, but another world where time and life seem to stand still in the face of intense heat. The temperature on the ground has been recorded by NASA at 159.3 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to burn your skin in just a few minutes. Winds blow at 65 miles per hour, blowing away all traces, leaving only eroded rocks that form yardangs, bare and fierce ridges that seem to roar at the sky. Occasionally, skyscraper-sized sand dunes rise from the cracked plains, creating a surreal scene that is both beautiful and terrifying. Not a bird, not a tree, just sand, rock, and wind, eternal and silent. Dasht e Lut leaves us speechless, because in its extreme harshness, nature has reached the limit of beauty, a cold, burning, and unforgettable beauty. As the pink of Maharlu gradually fades under the midday sun, we continue our journey west, where the Azad Kast fortress stands tall in the middle of the plateau like a whisper from the past. Built on a sandstone block about 20 meters high, with 3 sides of vertical walls, Azad Kast resembles an eagle's nest, both lonely and proud in the desert. The walls, made of compressed bricks and mud, have existed for more than 1,500 years, despite the constant erosion of wind, sand, and time. Below the fortress, the ancient stone bridge still bears its original traces, as if time had hesitated when passing through this place. In the quiet space, each brick seems to echo the footsteps of caravans, the voices of ancient residents who lived here until the 20th century. Standing in the middle of Izadkast, we not only see rocks and soil, but also see the human heart, persistent, skillful, and constantly striving beyond seemingly insurmountable limits. A reminder that, even in the most isolated places, people still create miracles. Leaving behind the solitude of the Izadkast fortress, we enter a completely different world. Palangan village, where stone and water merge into one, where people live in harmony with nature as an inseparable part. Located at an altitude of more than 1,700 meters in the heart of the Zagros Mountains, the village appears like a layered painting, stone houses stacked on top of each other along the mountainside. The roof of one house is the yard of another. The air here is fresh and cool all year round, without the need for air conditioning or heating. A freshwater stream flows through every corner of the village, so clear that people can drink it right from the source, as if nature is extending its arms to protect each resident here. Palangan is not bustling, not noisy, but every stone wall, every wooden door is imbued with life, memories, and attachments. Coming here, the traveler not only finds beauty, but also feels the quiet and enduring beat of a community living in harmony between the vast sky and earth. Continuing the surrealism of Valley of Stars, the journey takes us to a completely different world. The Hara Mangrove Forest, where life springs to life amidst the quiet salt water. Spanning nearly 55,000 acres around Keshem Island, the Hara Forest is like a green maze floating on the sea, where twisted tree trunks rise from the water, shimmering in the sunlight. Every early morning when the tide comes in, the entire forest seems to be floating, quietly moving with the waves, making it unclear where is land and where is water. This is the roof of thousands of migratory birds, fish, and marine life, a silent green lung that purifies the ocean. Without majestic rocks or bright colors, Hara captivates with its softness, durability, and heartbreaking gentleness. Sitting on a small boat gliding through the windless rows of trees, listening to the birds calling each other in the mist, we feel nature embracing us, not majestic, not overwhelming, but gentle, like a gentle touch to the soul. Not far from the tranquil plateau of Takti Soliman is a world as vast as the sea. Lake Urmia, one of the largest inland salt lakes that ever existed in the Middle East. At one point, the lake stretched for more than 5,000 square kilometers, vast and sparkling in the sunlight like a giant mirror reflecting the sky. But in recent years, Urmia has shrunk, gradually drying up due to drought and human intervention, leaving a white lake bed covered in layers of salt up to 30 centimeters thick, where the ground crackles underfoot. Occasionally, the remaining water changes color from blue to deep red due to halophile bacteria and red algae that survive the extreme salinity, like slow drops of blood flowing over the remains of a sleeping giant. Standing before Urmia today is a feeling of both admiration and regret. A place where nature was once so majestic it was surreal, now becomes a quiet but haunting reminder of the fragility of the very beauty we thought would last. Leaving the austere look of the Sar Yazd fortress, we set foot in a completely different place, where soul and art become one, the Sheikh Safi al-Din Khanagah Mosque complex in Ardabil. Like a hymn made of brick, stone, and light, this structure is a symbol of the most exquisite Islamic architecture in Iran. Built in the 14th century, the complex includes shrines, monasteries, libraries, and mausoleums, all arranged in a perfect symmetrical layout as if reflecting a miniature universe where human hearts and faith blend. The nearly 24-meter-high dome is assembled with thousands of jade-green tiles, reflecting the morning light like a shimmering moon in the middle of the stone. The gold lines, lacquer, and winding calligraphy on the walls are not just decoration. They are whispers of spirituality, drawings of devotion to the Supreme Being. Entering this place, we are no longer travelers, but souls, standing on the sacred threshold of silence and eternal beauty. Example of a strong rise is South Korea, a country that has gone from the ashes of war to the status of a technological powerhouse in just a few decades. Not only famous for K-pop, television dramas, or super-fast 5G networks, South Korea also impresses with an admirable achievement, joining the visa waiver program in 2008. Since then, South Korean citizens can easily enter the US without a visa, with just an ESTA application and a valid passport. This is not a matter of luck. It is the result of years of building trust, improving security, sharing intelligence, and adhering to international standards. In 2024 alone, more than 2.2 million South Koreans came to the United States. Students, business people, tourists, and those with aspirations of integration. They passed through the gates not because of favors, but because of their hard work and determination. and it reminds us that no privilege is an accident. It is built on a foundation of trust and persistence over time. De Lut, we come across another symbol of life rising from the desert. Argibam, the world's largest earthen citadel. Like an oasis of memory in the arid Kerman province, the Bam Citadel spans over 36 acres, with walls nearly 60 meters high, built entirely of mud bricks, without any steel or cement. The wonder lies not only in its enormous scale, but in the way the ancients designed it to withstand the harsh climate. More than 30 badgear, ancient wind towers, catch the air from above, lead it underground, and then push it back into the living space, creating a natural cooling system even when the outside temperature exceeds 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Standing among the ruins that still retain the spirit of an ancient city, we seem to hear the sound of horses' hooves and the sound of the afternoon market echoing through the cracked earthen walls. Bam is more than bricks and dust. It is the memory of a civilization that once knew how to create life in the most hopeless place. In contrast to the somber brown of Argibam, the island of Hormuz bursts into a colorful painting in the middle of the Persian Gulf. With an area of only about 16 square miles, this small island contains more than 70 rare minerals, turning the soil and rocks here into vivid colors. Red, orange, purple, silver, gold, all spread out on beaches so strange that they seem unreal. In particular, the red soil, rich in iron oxide, covers up to 70% of the island's area, not only used as paint, but also processed into traditional dishes by the locals, as if art and life have become one. The undulating cliffs, the purple sand, the sea sparkling under the sun. Hormuz is more than just a destination. It is an emotion, a place that makes us wonder, how can nature be so bold? After days of wandering through the dry desert, setting foot on Hormuz is like stepping into a tropical dream, where the land, sea, and sky sing together brilliantly. Not far from the brilliant beaches of Hormuz Island, we are lost in another world, quiet, mysterious, and deep. Namakdan Salt Cave, the longest natural salt cave in the world. With a length of more than 20,000 feet, the cave winds like an underground river of time, where light only filters through a few cracks in the rocks, reflecting on the pure, white, pink, sometimes purple salt crystals like quartz, creating a magical scene not unlike the corridors of a fairy tale palace. The walls of the cave are made of layers of crystallized salt that have been there for thousands of years. so dense and transparent that you can see the light dancing inside each layer of rock. The sound is almost swallowed up. Only the heartbeat and breathing remain, making each step a whisper in the ground. Namakdan is not as noisy, not as brilliant as Hormuz above, but it touches the quietest depths of emotions, where people can only listen, feel, and revere. Leaving the shimmering silence of the Namakdan Salt Cave, we enter a scene that seems to come out of an alien fairy tale dream: the Valley of Stars on Keshem Island. This place is a maze of vertical rocks, with stone columns up to 40 meters high, strangely shaped as if the hands of wind and water had silently sculpted over thousands of years. Each step echoes between the giant crevices, making people feel like they are lost in a forgotten stone city where all the laws of physics are bent. When the sun sets, the red-pink light penetrates the rocks, dyeing the whole space with mythical colors. The locals believe that stars once fell here, leaving their eternal traces in the rocks, a legend that makes this place even more sacred. Valley of Stars is not simply a geological masterpiece, but a place that makes our minds expand beyond reality. Believe in miracles, in the wild beauty that nature still retains for dreamers. Following the feats of stone and water, we stand before another symbol, majestic and sacred, the ziggurat of Choga Zanbil, an ancient religious structure of the Elamites, located in the middle of the Khuzestan plain. Built more than 3,200 years ago, this step pyramid still stands tall between the earth and sky like a block of unfading memory. Five stacked floors up to 25 meters high. Each small brick is engraved with cuneiform, recording the name of the king and the god worshipped, as if each brick were a prayer sent into eternity. Under the temple floor is a system of earthen pipes more than 600 meters long, bringing underground water from deep within the earth. A testament to the sophistication and endurance in the thinking of the ancients. No need for domes, no need for electric lights. This place still exudes an indescribable quiet energy. Going north, we encounter a gem hidden in the mist, Masule village, where time seems to stop to preserve the most rustic and gentle beauty of the Iranian mountains and forests. At an altitude of more than 1,000 meters, Masula is always immersed in a thin mist, creating a hazy scene like coming out of a fairy tale. The terraced houses overlap each other, where the roof of one house is the yard of the other, blending perfectly with the steep terrain. Masula is not as noisy as other wonders, but it is that silence that makes the traveler's heart calm, as if nature is whispering. Sometimes, the most sincere beauty is when we live very slowly. Leaving the majestic walls of Rudkhan, we head to the Azerbaijan plateau, where the village of Kandavan appears like a stone dream in the sky. At an altitude of more than 2,000 meters, this village was not built, but carved into the heart of unique conical volcanic rocks. Each house is a living cave, with walls up to 3 meters thick, cool in the summer, warm in the snowy winter, all without electricity or air conditioning. The miracle is that this is not a relic, but a living village, where people still live, cook, and chat every day in the heart of the pristine rock. The steep slopes force all architecture to follow nature, making the entire village seem to melt into the mountainside. Kandavan is not only beautiful, it makes people speechless before the limitless adaptability and creativity of humans. Amidst the dry rocks, life still sprouts in its own way, strong, durable, and poetic.